So what's in the Toolstation bag today? It's like the round, the square and the arch window, isn't it? Yeah, Toolstation Foleshill. Yes. What's in there? A reel of cable and 2 dust sheets. I don't know why I didn't get dust sheets earlier, to be honest. But I'm at the stage now that if I do any more painting and make any more mess, really want to be putting those down. Because I'll get into areas when I've got things I want to keep and I don't want to mess up. Blah, blah, blah. And yeah, just go through endless reels of lighting cable. Very difficult to calculate. And if at the end of this I end up with half a cable, half a reel left, it's 20 quid a cable. It's not worth worrying about. But better to have too much than too little. Yes, good morning. It's Ralph's house. Yes, good morning. And there's the broom. I know you haven't seen it for a while. Something else I got came through the post this morning. Thought I'd show you this. Well, let's open this out. It's obviously a light, but it's an industrial style pendant light. But wait till you see this. Right. That's the width of the shade. It's about 220 centimetres across, something like that. All the ring and all the brass fixings and stuff. But this really heavy brass pendant fitting, I just don't know how they do this for the money. And obviously the ceiling rose, might put a longer cable on that. But it even comes with the antique style bulb. $6.99, and that's free postage. You can hardly beat that, can you? So it's Saturday, and I don't like to make too much noise on a weekend, none on a Sunday. That's my regime. It doesn't mean I don't work on a Sunday, but I just keep it to quiet stuff so I don't upset my neighbours, give them a bit of peace. And not that they've got a lot to do at the moment, but what I want to do is finish this job. It's this outside the bathroom door. This is for because at the moment, the bathroom light, it's normally got a shade on that, but it's permanently on at the moment because I haven't got around to doing this job, so I'm going to get this done over the weekend. But essentially, what should happen, that's my extractor fan up there. The cable's just tucked in there, it's not connected yet. But what should happen is that fan should come on when the light does, as most do, but so it's got a switched live to it that only goes to it when the light comes on, but it's also got a permanent live, so if that fan senses that it's got too steamy in here, which is, you know, would cause condensation, then what it will do, it will kick in. So that's 3-core earth to buy that, and we'll be doing that over the weekend. But what I need to do Saturday morning is get this chased out properly for the back box. I started it with a cutter, but I need to, you know, chip this back now so I can actually sink the back box into it, and I can run all the cable down there through the loft. We're working in the loft, that'll be alright over a weekend. I'm not really going to make a lot of noise there, but I will chipping this out, so we're going to get that done now. There we are, it's the back box chipped out a little bit deeper. Box sits now below the surface. Bit of PVA, very watered down PVA inside the brickwork. Just going to mix some plaster up and fill that up. As always, you want this stuff quite stiff. See what I mean, like icing a chocolate cake, if you get me drift. And normally with plaster, you put the water in, you add the plaster to it slowly, but when you're mixing it in little tubs like this, that's pretty much like mixing concrete, so as long as you get all the lumps out and it's not too wet, it won't crack. That's bonding plaster for you. It does stick. I use an extraordinary amount, but it's cheap. So right, let's get that in the wall. Raw plug in the back, screw in that. Yeah, and just filled nicely around the edges. I say that PVA stops it pulling away from the brick again. But you know, just keep it enough below the surface so I can come over this with a finishing plaster. Obviously the cables have got to come in here and I've got to put the rubber grommets in. So I want to keep those clear until the cables are in, and then I can finish the last of it. Anyway, that's putting the back box in. Know what the rules are really. Make sure your box is below the level of the surrounding plaster. In this case it's actually just flush, which is alright. And make sure your earth wire is properly sleeved. Double check all your connections. Make sure your rubber grommet's in the top. That stops the cables being cut by the sides of the box. Well, that's the theory behind it anyway. As it generally happens, cables don't move when they're in the boxes, but you need the rubber grommets in. Very important you do that. So alright, we'll let that go off today, and then tomorrow I can feed the cables down into that. And I've got a switch especially for that, which is that one. Oh, I've got some blanking plugs I can use as well. Just flip them round once you put the screws in. Yeah, so why do you need a switch up there? Good question. Yeah, ideally you need the switch so it's out the bathroom, although I think under 18th regulations now you can actually have it in the bathroom as long as it's high up. But the point is, because you've got a switch live to the fan, i.e. when you pull the light switch, the light is live and so is the fan, or at least part of the circuit in the fan. That's a switch live. You obviously turn the switch off, the fan's dead. But it also has a permanent live, as I mentioned earlier on, so that the fan can operate, because it's a humidistat fan. You know, I paid a bit more for that one, so that if somebody's in the shower in the day and they haven't got the light on and it gets very steamy in there, rather than getting black mold everywhere, you know, the fan will kick in. So you have to have a means of isolating that fan, so when that's switched off, the fan is dead in the bathroom. Anyway, now it's gone off a bit. I'm just pulling that top surface off so it roughens it a bit, and also keeps it just below the surrounding plaster, because you only want to come across with a fine filler, but you want something to bond to, and you don't want to end up with a light switch that's domed out with filler. And that's the level of the surrounding plaster there, so just pull off any excess. Yeah, that'll do. Lovely job. These locks, I've done 2 of them now. I've got one more to do, which is this one. I mean, that's our covered in paint they are. You see how that's completely gummed up with paint. Yeah, once I've got all that stripped, same as the other one, the lock will start working again, which will be good. But what I was thinking is, they're kind of utilitarian locks, but I think they'd look better with brass dome head screws in there, you know, to match that, just set it off nicely. So that's good, got a key for that, and probably next week sometime I'll take that other lock off in the other room and get that stripped down and painted, same as these. Coming back to this pendant light, this isn't the sort of size I want for a central pendant light, and because it's got a metal shade, the light is going to be very directional, it's going to point down. Whether I'll keep that bulb or not, I don't know, but in any event, if you imagine this is the downstairs, and bear in mind downstairs this wall is 2 foot further back, I've actually dropped the pendant under this wall and straight down, so it will sit just away from this wall, because this is obviously a lot deeper, and it'll just drop down there, because I'll measure that distance, and then if you had a 2 or 3 seater settee, you're always going to have a gap at the end, so my guess is a small table will end up there or something similar. So drop the pendant light down there, so that's where that's going, and I've labelled it up in the service hatch as a front small pendant, so when I come to connect that I can pick it up pretty easy. So that's that job. That's my neighbour George. George, I think he suffered from epileptic fits, or he had a stroke, and he he's quite happy to tell you all about his operation when he had half his brain removed. He's a dear little Welsh fella, and his wife Chris, who is presently going around the neighbourhood distributing cake because she's been baking this morning. You don't get better neighbours than this, do you really? And Phil was first on her list. I don't know, there's a bit of favouritism going on there, but she has said she will include me in future, so I'm not excluded. So that kind of concludes Saturday morning. I shall be back over there again Sunday. This room is all painted now, everything's done. There's nothing else to do in here. Apart from, cut this floorboard shorter, because I put this extra piece of wood in. I need a shorter board there now. And just come in Monday, because it'd be a bit noisy putting screwing boards down. But they're all back where they should be. They just want screwing in place. Then I can give it a really good hoover, get around the skirting, get between all the gaps on the boards, and then a couple of good mops to pick up all the loose dust. And carpet man can come in and put carpet in here. That'll be good. You're thinking, what are you going to do about curtains, Rob? Well, I think the short-term plan is to put a curtain pole along here, along this lip. Eventually I'll put a Swiss track around there and curtains of a decent length because of the radiator, of course. I don't really want to cover the radiator. So curtains will come just beyond the sill. But you know, when I move in, I can put a curtain pole across there. It'll give me some sort of privacy until I've got the track sorted out. It's not so easy to get around these places to get stuff. Obviously that will need battening out and painting white, but I can do that when I move in. Otherwise, as far as I'm concerned, nothing stopped carpet fitter coming in and fitting the carpets. So that's it from Ralph's house on a Saturday morning. Thanks for watching. We will see you in the morning. So thumbs up, thumbs down, leave a comment. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe.